Welcome back, everyone, to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. Today on the show, we have the former Olympian, Marlena from Clayton season. Can't wait to talk to her. Mike, how exciting is that?
Watching Monday night's episode with Marlena, I was like, damn, I want to go on a race with her. I think she could take it. 100%.
She will probably take it. My money's on Marlena. I ain't going to lie.
My money's on Marlena. Like, I cannot wait to talk to her. But first, you know how we like to do it. Let's get into the hot takes. What you got for us today, homie?
This is going to be a little bit of an unpopular opinion here.
Oh, you got like a scorching hot take.
Somewhat. Little. Okay. There's some flame to it. But first, I want to start off with the disclaimer because the person I'm going to talk about right now is very controversial. She's the villain of the season, Shanae. Like, I want to start off that I don't condone any of the BS that's gone on with her, like her making fun of the ADHD, all the petty drama with Elizabeth about her not acknowledging her. I mean, I think that's so stupid, dude. Like, so stupid. And I feel bad for Elizabeth. She got sent home because of the lack of information that he had. And to be quite honest, bro, I think with the limited information that he had, I think he just chose the woman that he was more attracted to. Not going to lie.
No, that I completely agree with you there.
Like, I think he said between Shanae, like, is Elizabeth going to be my wife? Maybe not. Maybe not really. But I'm attracted to Shanae. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I think
because
that's...
when we tagged him on last week, he said it was like watching two different episodes. Like,
correct.
He said when he was there live to watching it back. And so I agree with you on the point that he didn't know what to do except for it was like, okay, at this point in time, who am I more attracted to? Because I don't know what is true or not true.
Exactly. And unfortunately, if the women would have just banded together, like the guys did on Katie's season with Carl, and just let Clayton know all together, it might have been a different story, but that didn't happen. So Elizabeth got the boot, and Shanae is still around.
Well, technically, let's just get into your hot take, because I know your hot take. The people don't know your hot take, but what you just said kind of goes into it.
I'm getting into it. So honestly, I thought Shanae was like the villain of all villains last night. She played the whole situation masterfully. She overheard these women, Sierra, Genevieve, and Gabby, I believe it was, talking trash about her in the other room, which seemed pretty convenient, but she overheard them talking trash. She could have gone out and confronted them and been like, yo, what the hell are you guys saying? And got into a whole altercation with them, but she didn't. She put it in her back pocket. She's like, okay, I'm going to save this for later. Fast forward to the date. She ends up losing the football date because, I mean, our guest coming up pretty much stole the show. And there was nothing that Shanae could have done about it. So she was on the losing team.
Yes.
And all these other women that were in that other room talking trash about her were on the night portion of the date. So she was like, damn, they're going to be talking mad stuff to Clayton about me, so I need to pull a power move. And she pulled a power move, bro. She pulled a bold move. She got dressed, got into her little black dress, and went on over the date, interrupted one of the other women, got Clayton's attention.
He interrupted Sarah, I believe.
Yes, he interrupted Sarah, and
Sarah.
Obviously that caused a whole bunch of drama when she went back and told the rest of the women. But it was crazy because Clayton had just gotten done with his one-on-one time with Genevieve and Sierra, and they were talking trash about Shanae. So then Shanae comes in and is like, yeah, I overheard them this morning saying that they were going to plot against me and they were going to tell you all about me. So I feel like that really threw Clayton for a loop. You know what I'm saying?
Had to.
Because it was like, wait a minute. They literally just talked to me about you, and now you're saying that you overheard them, that they were plotting? Huh. So that looked good on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe puts him more in her corner. And then, I mean, what guy wouldn't want to start, a hot, steamy makeout session? He throws her on the bar. It's like straight out of a rom-com or some steamy movie. And it's like, she did what had to be done. And then to top that off, she goes back to the group, basically tells off Sierra and Genevieve, and then tosses the trophy in the bushes, and just walks off. Like, end scene, the villain has arrived and did what she had to do and left. Like, I'm not mad at it. Now, all that other stuff, again, I don't condone any of that. I think her time is limited. Her days are numbered. And I think all that stuff will catch up to her. But in that situation, she did what she had to do.
So, Bryan, let me ask you, what lens are you even watching this show as? Like,
Oh.
are you watching with foggy eyes? Like, you're a doctor. Do you need LASIK surgery? Like, what's going on? Like, please help me. What lens are you looking out of, bro?
Explain. What do you mean by what lens?
So you're a married man who you found your beautiful wife, my big sister, on this very show. So what lens I'm talking about, like, are you watching this from let me see if she falls in love. Are you watching this from I don't give a damn what happened. I just want to see some drama.
See, here's the thing.
You can't be both.
In my situation, I wouldn't have been any of those women. Like, if this was reversed, like if this was the Bachelorette, I would have been like, was it Susie maybe, or what's the name of the girl that he just went on a date with?
Susie, he went on. Oh no, Rachel.
Rachel,
one-on-one with Rachel. Yes.
Duh.
Rachel. Come on.
name should ring a bell. So he went on a date with Susie. Went on a date with Rachel. Do you hear anything from those women? Like, off to the side with other women? No, because they know that they are in the driver's seat. All this other petty drama, like, that was me just like looking at all these other people like, oh wow, Shanae and Genevieve, like, all those women are going home. Like, all those women are going home. Like, let them do their thing. Like, I was just looking at it through the lens of, this is drama, and I felt like Shanae did what she had to do in that situation. Now, granted, like I said, I'm not going to speak on her character. She's done some shitty things during the season, and I think that is going to get her sent home eventually once Clayton comes to realize who he's dealing with.
Once he realizes she ain't shit, at least from what we see on the show. And I say that with love. Like, I got a lot of homeboys that I say they ain't shit. They say I ain't shit either. So, Shanae, if and when you listen to this, take it how you want to. Hate me or don't hate me. But first off, you missed an opportunity for an amazing joke. You said that Rachel's in the driver's seat. She's a pilot, bro. You could have said she's in a cockpit. Like, this is such an amazing joke. You set it up, and then you did not dunk it. It was like you missed the dunk. I was like, come on, man.
Let's do that over. I got to get that joke now. I'm kidding. No, I like that though. I like that.
I was like, he's setting the perfect joke up, and then boom.
She's in the cockpit. Yes.
Yeah, she's in the cockpit, quite literally, right? But so I'm taking it. You're looking at it from simply a spectator that's already happy. You already got your love of your life. You just watching with some popcorn, just watching it, right?
Yeah.
I watch this show. I mean, you can call me a Hallmark kid or whatever, but I'm trying to see somebody fall in love. I'm trying to see basically Joe and Serena from Bachelor in Paradise. I'm trying to see a situation where they have to overcome. They have to be honest, transparent, authentic, and then boom, love. Like, that's what I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see Lifetime TV on my screen.
And that's what I'm saying. It's happening with Susie and Rachel. All this other nonsense, they're not going to be there in the end.
Bro, this is why I disagree with your hot take full-heartedly, because I'm trying to get your lens, but it's still you need to clean your glasses or something because it's foggy for me right now. Like, this is why I disagree. If Shanae is to end up with Clayton, they're going to watch the show back. It would break up their relationship automatically. When she threw the trophy in the bushes like that, like, the level of respect I would have for you has been completely tarnished because I don't care what comes out of your mouth. Your actions showed me that you weren't genuine. And that's how I would look at it.
Correct.
She could be genuine. She could be genuine for the record, but that's how I'm going to look at it based on the actions that she showed.
Correct. But at the end of the day, Clayton didn't see any of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like, Clayton doesn't know all the trash that she talked about Elizabeth. So I'm just basing it on what has been shown on the TV up to now. Like,
so you watching it from like
all Clayton saw was her on top of the bar, steamy makeout session, and him basically put a seed of doubt about the other women when she basically told him that they were trying to plot against her.
This is how I see it. If I'm going to look at it from your lens, she was absolutely amazing. She got all the TV time.
Yeah.
If she want attention, bravo.
Yeah.
Girl did it for the fantastic
She is playing the villain role to a T.
If Shanae and I to become homies in the future, I'm like, baby, you did that beautifully. You handled it.
Yeah.
You ran that shit. You know, what's that buddy that from last season who had Jason Tartick's name, my name down, and Blake Horseman's name down?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I forget his name.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
At this point in time, you know, he didn't make it, right? But Shanae, I would put her name down if I were to do something like that. Yo, you want to be the villain? Like, that's what your whole intention is? Shanae killed it. Like, she deserves that trophy if that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
But like,
oh no,
call me a 34-year-old, but I look at this show like I'm trying to find love. I'm not trying to see somebody that's gonna get like some more IG followers because they got a bunch of time on the show. You feel me?
You're right.
And,
and
like, somebody could I'm not being right. It's just I love the beauty of it because we all have different. Some people have astigmatism. Seems like you do today, but you know,
I'm 2020, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, she is playing her role, and I agree with you when you talk about, you know, if Clayton ever saw this, like he's already tweeting about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's already tweeting about it. He's already saying, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm watching two different movies." Like he apologized to Elizabeth. You know, if he would have known certain things that happened, he would have probably sent Shanae home, but he didn't. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with that completely.
She's basically playing. You know, Shanae was playing it in real time, and she was doing what she had to do in the moment to survive another week. Now,
if we're talking about that in the moment, I 100% am on your side. If we're talking about someone that's like, yo, not saying Shanae did this, but if we're like, if it's me and a bunch of my boys, it's like, yo, we're going to see who hookups with that girl or who can hook up with that girl first. Shanae killed it. She won. But like, this ain't a damn game, homie. This is like.
Well, apparently, you know who thinks it's a game or a competition or a winning? Shanae, because that's all she talks about. Like she uses words like that. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I won. I beat the other girl. She has the rose in her mouth. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the way she's treating it. And like I said, eventually that's going to catch up with her.
You know what's funny, bro, is that Shanae did win. Because I'm talking about
She took the W that night. Yeah.
I'm talking about her in my mouth right now and said her name 15 times in the last 10 minutes. Like she's winning. She's pulling a Kanye. That's what Shanae is doing.
You and Kanye, bro.
Because Kanye is like the ultimate example of this personality trait. Like, she wants to be talked about. I know that's a fact. She wants to. If we have her on the pod, she will be honest. She'll be like, yeah, I want to be talked about. And she's doing it.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at it from that perspective, that lens, yes, she is my number one draft pick if that's what I'm going for. But if I'm going for love, which the effing point of the show, then she has been like the absolute worst.
Oh no, yes, but like
I know
you got to understand my
point.
You got to
yeah.
Like right now, it's like Clayton is in lust, I believe, with Shanae. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, I can name a few other ones that
she's not gonna make it to the end, dude. Like her.
Oh, well, we already know the top
she's
three
made her bed, and she's gonna be laying in it eventually because there's no way she's making it to the end. Like everything's gonna catch up with her.
For sure. It's just like, do you want to be like known for, you know, do you want the best, think about it in a sexual term, do you want a partner that's the best for 5 seconds, or do you want a good 30-minute session?
Yeah,
like she's a 5 second.
Do you want a wife? Do you want wife material?
Yeah, I mean, that's hilarious. Somebody will talk shit about me for saying that, but it is what it is. But someone that I thought on that group date, you know, I remember when I was on the show, we had a rugby date. I 100%, this woman will be my number one draft pick, Marlena. Dude,
she killed it. She literally won that game by herself.
Phenomenal. I just want to be able to talk to her. And then Clayton was hyping her up so high last week, saying that
for good reason.
Yeah, he wants us to get to know her story. She's just such a badass. I cannot wait to speak to our beautiful guest today, Marlena. Can you grace the stage, please, baby? Grace the stage. Marlena, you look amazing. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You guys look amazing. I'm super excited to be here. So, well, in my room, you know.
Appreciate you for being here. So excited to have you. And we just want to get to know you more. You absolutely starred on the show last night. So we want to get into that and just a little bit more about your life. But before we get into The Bachelor, let's start from the beginning. What was your childhood like? Like, how did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up one of five. I am the middle of five. I just said that. I have two older brothers, and I have twin siblings. I'm an Irish triplet. So me, my brother, and my sister are all the same age right now. My birthday's in 15 days. So I'll be 1 year older than them, but I'm actually 11 months older than them. So
Wait, when's
yeah,
your birthday?
it's pretty.
I've never heard
February 16th.
Okay, February 15th. Aquarius.
Oh!
I like that. I like that.
Come on.
I knew I liked you already.
Happy early birthday to both of y'all.
Thank you. Yes. So my parents are Haitian. They migrated here from Haiti. And basically they left Haiti for a better life. They moved to New York and they had my brother. My dad had his papers. My mom married my dad. Long story. I'm gonna keep it real short for y'all. Okay. And they moved to Virginia Beach and my dad was in the military. And basically, you know, my mom kind of raised us all because my dad was always out to sea. He was always on, 8-month cruises. Well, not really a cruise, but like 8-month times, where he would go to work and he'd be gone for a while. And that's another reason why I'm an Irish triplet because, every single time they saw each other, it was kind of back to back. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't waste any time. They didn't waste any time.
They didn't waste any time. Okay. And so basically I grew up very athletic because my oldest brothers played sports. Youngest siblings played sports as well. And yeah, so athletic background. I actually started out playing football, which is actually soccer in America. And that was my sport. And it was the love of my life. And I knew going into college, I knew when I was in high school that I wanted to leave the state. And in order to leave the state, you actually have to be on like a global scale for any sport. And with soccer, it's such a team-oriented sport that, you aren't really highlighted with a team sport, right? You're highlighted when you're playing something individual because they can focus on you and they can see you and they can say, oh, okay, this person's really, really good. Yeah. Versus being on a team and winning with a team and whatnot. So I had to make a decision because soccer and track were also the same exact time in high school. So I had to make the decision on like what sport I wanted to play. And I had never ran track until like my 7th grade year in middle school. Wow. And so I was like, okay, well, but I really want to play soccer in high school because I really want to go to school for soccer. And so I just made a decision to run track. And I actually started out as a middle distance runner. So I ran the 800, which is now a sprint though, right? Like it's a sprint now.
It's a sprint. Yeah, it's a sprint.
It's a sprint now. Yeah. And so I ran the 800 first, and then I just kept on moving down. Like every year I was like 800, then I ran 400, and then I was a 200 runner, and then I was a 100 runner.
She's too fast to do all that other stuff.
And so eventually, like the 400 was my cream of the crop. I ended up being a 400 runner, and I won states in the 1, the 2, and the 4. And I was also 4x4.
Talk that talk. We love that.
Yeah. And it was, I remember my senior year, no one had ever done the triple. And right before I was about to run, I was just doing some block starts at the start of the 100. I was about to run the 100. And someone walked across my lane as I'm like in my drive phase, going up. And I just remember looking up and bam, hit him head on. Had a concussion, right? And I'm like blacked out right before my race. Oh, and so I remember my coach, I had like a Coach Carter coach. Like he was like, you're gonna do this. We're gonna prevail. We're gonna be unstoppable. And I remember him telling the trainer, mind you, I'm 18 years old, right? I'm like young, right? And I remember he told my trainer, he's like, wrap her up. She's getting on the track. And I'm like, bloody nose, everything. Like I'm like swollen ankle. And I'm just sitting here like, I can't do this. And he was like, you could do this. This is your senior year. You could do this. And I remember I like limped to the starting line and they're like, runners, take your marks. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, but I know I got to win. It's my senior year. 100 somehow. I don't know how I won. Right. the next race was the 400, which is my race anyway. So I wasn't too worried about that race.
She's like, I got this.
Won the 400. Right. Yeah. So I won the 400. The 200 was the most competitive race for me. And I was very nervous, of course. Like my trainer had to continue wrapping my ankle, because I'm like, I'm feeling it right now. Like this is my second race and I'm really feeling it. And my coach was just like, just go out there and like leave everything on the track. And I was like, okay. And I remember like out the blocks, I couldn't really push off. And I was like, look, I'm not losing. Like, I'm so competitive. Like, I'm not losing. It's not happening.
The adrenaline kicked in.
Literally, yes, it kicked in. And I like blew past everybody and I won. So I was the first athlete in Virginia to basically, first female athlete to do the triple after Percy Harvin. Because I think he did.
Percy Harvin, former Gator. Yes, I've heard about his accolades. Wait a minute. So you pulled off this feat with a bum leg and a concussion.
Right.
Like, is that the moment? Is that the moment you knew you're like, okay, I'm going to be an Olympian? Like, when was that point where you were like, okay, I'm good enough to compete with the best in the world?
I mean, I've always been so competitive. My little brother also ran track and he was actually really good as well. And I just knew that I wanted to be an Olympian and I knew I wanted to eventually win a gold medal. And I knew I wanted to be somebody that people talked about, you know, and that was, go ahead.
No, I want to hear that. Keep finishing. That's beautiful.
No, I'm like, I knew I wanted to be someone and I didn't want to just go to work and just be someone that just kind of, you know, retired in corporate America. Like I knew I was destined to be great, you know, in anything that I put my mind to.
How does someone like, for the listeners out there, how do we get your confidence? How do you bottle it, sell it in the store for us so we can buy it for $9.99 to pick it up and like put it on as lotion? Like, how do we get that confidence?
You know what's so crazy is I'm not even that confident. Like it might sound as if I am, and like all the girls in the house are like, "Oh my God, Marlena, you're just like so confident." And I was like, mentally, I'm like drowning. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I like how am I like doing this right now?" And I think it's literally, I mean, you wake up and you tell yourself like, "I'm not going to be mediocre today." You know, like I wake up and I'm just like, I am not going to allow my own mentality to defeat me, because that's all it is. You know, at the end of the day, it's your own, you being stronger than your own mindset. Like you have to tell yourself, I can do this. It doesn't take anybody else. Like no one else can push you to that limit. It has to be you. And you have to mentally be stronger than you were any other day.
And what got you to that, like that confidence level? Like, was it somebody in your family? Was it the competition between the siblings that led to this?
Oh yeah, it was always a competition. I always wanted to be better than my siblings. Like my oldest brother went to college and he ran track. He was a cross country runner. My second oldest brother also ran track. And then I ran track. My little sister ran track. And then my little brother ran track. And it was always me. Yeah, all of us ran track. And it was me and my little brother. And we were always like bumping heads. Like just, I think it was more so like trying to get our parents' attention, right? Like you always want to be the star in your parents' eyes. And I'm like, I need mom and dad to come to my track meet. Like they need to not go to yours. They need to come to mine because I'm better than you. So I had always been like super competitive with my siblings. And like, I think that's what it was. It was really just trying to get my parents to love me more, right? I mean, as terrible as that sounds, like you always want to be the star child. And I think that's really what it stemmed from, me wanting their attention.
Well, I think that you're definitely the star child. I mean, you're doing pretty amazing. we were watching you yesterday. I'm like, yo, she can dust me in a race. Like, dust me in a race. It's like, I want to race you, but I know I'm
no, you don't. I don't think you want to do that.
I'm going to be in a back betting against me. If that makes sense.
Right. And I mean, look, I don't turn down any races. I don't turn down any competition. So it is what it is. Let's go.
We're going to have to make that happen. But like, let's go back a little bit. You are an Olympian, yo. That's like the highest of the highest of feats. Like, let's dive into that right there. What took place? How was your training? Like your mentality, all of it.
Yeah. So as I said, I'm Haitian. So I have dual citizenship with Haiti and with the United States. And going into it, it was a track meet. So basically when you run for a different country, some countries have actual qualification rounds, like USA does have the Olympic trials. And so Haiti did not have like a trial. What I had to do was hit the A standard for the Olympics in order to qualify. And the A standard was 51:43. I think it was 51:43. And pretty fast time for a 400 back in the day. So it was 2012. I was a junior in college. I went to Clemson and I went there on a track scholarship, but I started out at the University of Oklahoma. So I got to shout them out first. And I transferred to Clemson my sophomore year. And so after that, I trained with this coach, and he was like, also Coach Carter, because I literally thrive off of just constructive criticism, and you have to literally talk crap to me because it only feeds me. Like, if you're like, Marlena, let's go. You're not running fast enough. You suck. Let's go. It's like, it pumps me up because that's me. Like, I remember, like, I remember I went home for the summer and I got a little thick. And I remember coming back and my coach was like, Miss Piggy, come on, Miss Piggy, let's go.
Not Miss Piggy.
Like,
she said I got a little thick.
Calling me Miss Piggy. But guess what? I went hard every single day until I worked all of my thickness off to where I was able to be back in shape. But fast forward back to the race. It was at the ACC Championship 2012, Charlottesville, Virginia. And it was at the University of Virginia. And it was the finals for the 400-meter dash. And I just remember going out there, and my coach told me how to execute the race. He was like, go out hard, kind of coast the back stretch, and then pick it up with 150 meters to go. And I'm like, okay, got it. And I wasn't too worried. I had a lot of competition, but I also knew who I was, and I knew that I was the strongest person out there. And so with 150 to go, I just remember just high knees, kind of like the race yesterday, or basically the football game yesterday, just starting high knees. And I'm just like, high knees, high knees, high knees. I remember crossing the finish line, and I looked at the time, and it was like 51:40. And I was like, like, I remember being so hyped and just so excited that I hit it. I remember looking for my coach in the stands, and he saw me. I saw him. I sprinted to him. I jumped on him, and we were just so excited. And I was like, that's when I knew, like, you're going to the Olympics. Like, oh my God, you're going to the Olympics, but it really doesn't hit you until you're actually at the Olympics. Like, I was just in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to the Olympics. And the opening ceremony is when it really, it really hits you at the opening ceremony. You're just like, holy crap, I'm like really at the Olympics. Like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Wow. How was that being
what was that experience
at the Olympics, walking out, representing your country?
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm a little bougie. So London to me wasn't all that. I'm not a fan of London. And I kind of wish it was in some place like really exotic. I really wish I would have went to like Morocco or something.
She said
but
Morocco.
London will do.
It'll do, sweetheart. It'll do.
It'll do. It's like London it reminds me of Oregon. I'm not sure if you guys have been to Oregon before. It rains every day, and it's just like sad.
Hold on, Paul. You did not just do London like that.
Oregon and London.
Just not do
Oregon, London.
She said, yeah, they don't same page,
It rained every day, and I'm a vibe person when it comes to like the weather. So like my energy, I vibe off the weather. I live in Miami right now, so it's like hot every day, and I'm like, baby. Okay, I don't gotta wear any clothes, I got the half sleeve, one sleeve. I don't know what I'm doing today, half sleeve, is it hot, is it cold, and so
either way, it's a gun show, right?
Either way. And so basically it was raining and it was dreary, and I was like sad because it was like an ugly day, but London was a good experience. I think London was really they were very welcoming. They were very hospitable, of course, at the Olympics. You have the Olympic Village that everyone talks about. And I feel like everyone that I talk to always asks one question. And I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what question.
Is it as crazy as everybody says? Is everybody just getting busy or what?
We have to know.
That's everyone's question. It's everyone's question. Like, I heard people in the Olympic Village like really get it on. And I'm like, think about it though. Like, put it in the perspective of, you will never see this person ever again, right? Like, so
she confirmed it. She's confirming.
I didn't
Everybody
do anything.
cardio game up.
I didn't do anything, put it that way. But literally, like, you bond with these people that you're probably with it for 2 weeks, right? It's like the Titanic, right? How long was Rose and Jack really together? They were together for like 2 days, right? They fell in love in 2 days.
It was a magical
and, like,
2 days.
Literally, right? It was a magical 2 days. Thank you.
And think about it, Mike. It's like everybody's athletic as hell, ripped. Like,
oh yeah,
everybody's looking good. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're going to be attracted to some people.
Right, exactly. And so, I mean, there's so many different countries. Everyone's beautiful, you know, and it's just like, wow, I've never seen people from this country, or I've never seen what people from this country look like. And so you're just like, okay, some people start experimenting. I'm not saying
It's like it's a buffet of all different types of people. It's like, yeah,
there you go.
Taste the rainbow.
There you go. Literally. And it was so cool because I met Kobe, you know, unfortunately he passed, but I met Kobe.
Rest in peace,
I met
Kobe.
LeBron. And when I tell you, like, the basketball players were like the talk of the town, of course, they didn't stay in the Olympic Village. So, of course, you know, everybody was kind of sad about that. But
they were too bougie for that.
They came to like the lunchroom at like 9 o'clock at night. So everybody knew they would be there at 9 o'clock at night after the game. So we just like wait there, like, when they gonna show up? But no, they were so cool, down to earth, and like it was just a great experience meeting people that you watch on TV that you're like, oh my God, it's Venus and Serena. Like, I met Venus and Serena.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, these people are people that I idolize, you know, and you actually get to be on the same track as them. You're like, well, they're Olympians, I'm an Olympian, you know, like we're kind of on the same, not really, but you know what I'm saying.
During those Olympics, you were.
During the Olympics, you're on the same page.
Yeah.
Right.
During the Olympics, you are definitely on the same page. So, toot your horn. You 100%.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
How is it because you have dual citizenship, can you just decide? Because I genuinely don't know. Like, how does that work when you say, okay, I want to run for Haiti, I want to run for the U.S. How does that work?
Right. So actually, I was running really well in college, and I ended up bumping into somebody that was on the board for Haiti, and she knew how to connect me with somebody else that could get me running for Haiti. And I'm not sure how it works for every other country. I really don't know. So for me, that was the process. I met someone and she connected me with somebody else who connected me with somebody else who connected me with somebody else. Yeah. And then they made it happen. So it was funny because I ended up running for Haiti and my little brother ended up running for the United States, or he tried out for the Olympic team in the States. And we all know the U.S. Olympic team is the hardest team to make. So I was in my head, I'm sitting here like, okay, how can I become an Olympian in a pretty simple way? I mean, not to say that it was simple or anything, but I also knew that I'm a realist and I'm realistic in every single goal that I set in my life. And I knew like, okay, I could maybe make the relay, right? But I'm probably not going to make it there individually, you know? And so I was like, but do I want a chance even trying versus I can go right now, like I can go right now and still compete and still be an Olympian, like American Olympian or a Haitian Olympian or a Jamaican Olympian, you know, like at the end of the day, an Olympian is an Olympian, regardless of who you represent.
Nobody can ever take that away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Marlena, what do you consider was the easier task? Living in the Olympic Village with all those other athletes, or living in the Bachelor Mansion with these women? How do you compare the two?
Well, Bryan, you got to be honest. Be specific, Bryan. You're specifically speaking about Shanae.
Shanae, Cassidy. I mean, you know, we could be talking about multiple people here.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like I have to bring in my background and my profession. So I am basically an HR professional. So, you know, in HR, I have to look at every single side. So it was interesting that I was not one of the girls that disliked Shanae. You know, I actually try to see things eye to eye. So I'm like, okay, well, all right, guys, let's think about it this way, right? Or let's look at it this way, and from her perspective. And I was always the mediator person. I was like, look, I don't want any drama. Let's try to solve it. Let's try to work it out. You know, yesterday's episode showed me saying, well, who in particular are you talking about? Like, right, talk, you know, let's have a conversation instead of pointing fingers and saying things. And that's just how I was, you know, in the whole entire time. But to answer the question, it was easier living, of course, at the Olympic Village. I mean, what kind of question is that?
Yo, Bryan, I think everyone we've
Just
talked
wanted to clarify.
that's an athlete tends to find the Bachelor to be a bit more difficult.
Yeah,
It is.
I mean, a camera on you 24/7. You're in the midst of all this drama, unnecessary drama. To be frank.
Unnecessary to be frank. Sure. You mentioned that your younger brother represented for the U.S., right? Didn't your older brother Daryl represent for Haiti as well?
So he's my little brother.
Okay, your little brother.
Yes,
right.
Yes, yeah.
Your little brother represented for
He's
Haiti.
my Irish triplet brother.
Tell me about that. I never heard that term before, Irish triplet, before today.
So an Irish triplet is when your birthdays lapse and you're the same age, like sometime. So I'm 11 months apart from my brother and my sister. So right now their birthday's January 21st. So they're 30. I'm 30. And I'll turn 31 February 16th.
Well, shout out to your mama quick. Shout out to your mama. Can we get a high five? Can we get a hand clap for your mama right quick? Lord.
Hand clap, mama.
So who has the bragging rights in the family? Because everybody seems to have run track, very athletic family. Like, who has the bragging rights, like in Thanksgiving, Christmas? Like, who's talking the most trash?
Oh my goodness. Thanksgiving and Christmas are the most fun holidays at my parents' house in Virginia. We are always talking about old memories, and my brothers never live it down. Like, they're always talking about things that happened in the past. They're like, do you remember when Marlena did this? And I'm like, man, they're like, you got everybody beat in the house because you did this. And like, I grew up in such a loving and positive household. I'm so close to everyone in my family. Like, they are my world, like every single one, all 7 of us, right? Like, it's me, my siblings, my mom and my dad, who have been married for 36 years and are still together. Right. And I grew up looking at that love, and they did a very, very good job in instilling that in our lives as well. So I'm just very thankful, and I'm so happy to be a part of a family that just loves as much as they do.
I love that for you and your family. Bryan, can you imagine like going to Marlena's family's house for Thanksgiving or like Christmas and being that one dude that's not in shape?
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Imagine that.
It's like, to be a part of this family, like, you got to hit the gym. You got to do something.
This is the prerequisites that you must, at the bare minimum, hit to be in this family.
Well, let me tell you this. So I'm one of 5. My oldest brother is 34, about to be 35. Second oldest brother is 32, about to be 33. I'm 30, about to be 31. And then my little brother and sister are 30. My parents are 60 and 65, right? No grandchildren.
Oh.
So
they're harping on the grandkids. I can't even.
So as you can imagine, if one of y'all came to my house for Thanksgiving, they'd be like this. Hello.
It's like, so when are we seeing the grandkids?
Like,
literally.
Look, if you hear you made it far enough, let me just get a kid. Let me get a grandkid. Let's go.
Yes. That's all they care about. They're like, you are not going to make me leave this earth without meeting my grandchildren.
Listen, their life is not complete without that. I get it because I get that from my parents all the time too.
Same, exact same. My mom just said it to me this past weekend.
Right.
Yeah. I ain't worried about that.
We need to find you the girl first, Mike. First things first.
First things first.
Facts. We have a guest here today. We're going to focus on our guest, Marlena. That's what we're going to do. So, Clayton, we had him on last week, right? And Marlena, when I tell you, Clayton adores you. He spoke so highly of you. He was like hyping.
He hyped you up.
Yeah. He hyped you up like crazy, and we know it to be so true. What was life like leading up to the Bachelor? What was your thoughts about going on the Bachelor? Because you came, it's back in the mansion now, back to almost normal. How was all that thoughts for you?
Well, how I got on the show. That's the question.
Yes, tell us that.
That's the question. Let's start with that.
That's the question. So I got out of an extremely toxic relationship with a narcissist.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah. And it was literally like a turning point in my life. And you guys see me as this confident person right now, but he literally kind of crushed every part of my soul. And I literally was like, well, let me try to find love a different way. And I applied for The Bachelor jokingly, right? And I'm just like, let me just, it's kind of like going, it's like going to the gas station and playing the lotto, right? Like, no, I'm like, whatever. I know I'm not gonna win $1 million. Yeah, like I'm not gonna win $1 million, but whatever. Yeah, exactly. And so someone actually called me, and I'm like, this is who? Oh, okay, cool. And of course, by then we didn't know who the Bachelor was going to be. And so it's like everyone's speculating, like, is it going to be this person from Katie's season? Is it going to be this person, And we didn't find out until like a couple weeks before. And so it was like, I was working as the vice president of human resources in a credit union. And I remember like having to make a decision. Like, I'm like, am I going to go or am I going to stay? And I was just in my little town. I made a lot of money. I was very successful in what I did. And I had never, ever taken a chance, and taken a risk that could potentially go south. Like I've never taken a risk that was too risky. I had always been a conservative person. Like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, I'm not going to do Bitcoin because I could potentially lose money, right? And I've never been like a risky person. And so I just, after kind of talking to a lot of people, I'm like, I really want to do this, because I really do want to find love. I really do want to get married and potentially have children, right? And so it was like, it makes sense. But then there's also the risk of that not happening, and then what? Failing, because in my eyes as a competitor, it's a failure, right? And so I'm like, okay, but it'll be so much more easy if I just stay here in my little job. And I didn't think about that. And so like, it wasn't until like a couple weeks prior to everything that I actually went to my boss's office and I was like, hey, I'm doing this. And he's like, okay.
So they were cool with it.
Yeah. And he was cool with it. But also, I also knew with my position and being in a seniority position that I was going to need to step down. So I ended up having to step down. And it was more a relief for me as well, because I was living in Gainesville, Florida.
What's wrong with Gainesville, Florida? I went to college there.
I went to Clemson, so every single time someone saw me, they were like, "Go Gators," and I was like, "I'm not a Gator."
Bryan, she just compared Oregon to London, bro. So give her that.
So I just didn't like living in Gainesville, and I kind of felt like stuck, right? I'm like in this great job, making good money, like not really having to worry about too much, and to take a risk and lose it all to find love, that's a big risk.
It is.
But I also told myself, like, this is your opportunity to do what you want to do and do something for you, right? And so many times we think about what other people define success as, right? Other people are like, no, you need to work until you're making X amount of money and you need to do this. And society tells us what success is. But in reality, it's all about what's up to us. Like, you're put on this earth to make it the best lifetime or the best life that you can make it for yourself. And so I said, I'm gonna choose something for me this time.
Amen.
And I did it.
Question. I got a question for you. What
Yes.
You mentioned about the toxic relationship that you were in with the narcissist. Like, what did you learn from that relationship that you knew you wanted in your next relationship and going into The Bachelor?
Yeah. I learned to take red flags seriously. I mean, I think, and I can speak for myself and probably a lot of other women out there, that when we're really in love with someone, or we really feel as if this might be love or this might be the one, we are blindsided, right? And we just don't even look at these things that are right in front of our faces, like people DMing them, or, people reaching out to them at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And we're just like, okay, it might just be this. And we're always constantly talking ourselves out of situations that we know are unacceptable. And literally going into this situation with Clayton, I knew that I wanted to be upfront about my expectations for a man in general. And I wasn't afraid to do that and talk about, this is what my expectations are. And, this is what I'm looking for in a man, because this is what happened to me in the past. And, yeah.
You're talking about that right there, your expectations from that you learned from your past relationships and red flags. On the group date, not this week, but last week with Caitlin Bristow,
gosh.
I got to go there because to me it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I really loved it. I mean, I loved it from you. I loved it from Clayton. You almost didn't want to bring up the racial aspect, but Clayton, I had to give my hat off to him because he said he wants you to say that. He wants you to ask those type of questions. He wants to hear different perspectives and learn. And so just how was that conversation behind the scenes, or let us know a little bit about that publicly because we didn't get to see it.
So that was a very tough conversation to have, just because prior to even going on the show, that was the biggest question. It was like, yeah, you're Black and he's white. Okay. And I'm like, okay, and for me, you don't want to say, I hate when people say I don't see color, right? Because it's blatant. It's right in front of your face. It's right in front of your face. I see color, right? But I'm able to see past that and to see your personality, because that's what matters to me is your heart. I want to see your heart. Who are you? And for me, just kind of thinking about that and telling other people that I would, confide in, and telling them about, this, me being on The Bachelor, me being on the show, it's like, they're like, well, no, don't mention race. Like, you don't want to make anybody mad. You don't want to make the viewers mad. And I'm like, why am I having to compromise who I am and what I would normally do in a relationship for a show, right? Just because it's a show. I'm not going to put on a facade. I'm not going to put on this fake appearance just because people might get mad, and I'm like, I'm going to be who I am. And I knew, and I told myself that going onto the show, I was going to be Marlena regardless. Like, I was going to be Marlena. I wasn't going to be like this person that I wasn't, because if the world hates me, they're going to hate Marlena. They're not going to hate this fake person that I put on in order for everyone to love me. And then they end up hating me, So I was like, I'm just going to ask, I'm just going to basically talk to him about my struggles as being an African-American woman. And especially in my role, when I was working, in corporate America, I was the only African-American in that executive level. And so it was hard for me. And I just know that, the difficulties that we face. And I just wanted to kind of express that to Clayton, that that's something that I struggle with as well, is walking into a room and being as respected as someone that doesn't look like me, and feeling as if I have to enunciate, I have to elaborate, I have to basically be more professional than the average person just because of the color of my skin.
Yes, and you mentioned having to work 10 times harder just to be seen at this exact same level. And so that was, to me, just profound. I love the interaction between the two of you. How was that? Because you mentioned like your friends saying, well, you're Black, he's white, or people that were in your circle. How did you handle those conversations? Because a lot of times it sounds like what other people are scared of comes to play onto you, right? And they throw it up on you. How were you taking that? What were your thoughts on that? Just simply, this is who I am, I don't care. Like, what was going through your brain?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I date outside my race. So that was the first thing that I said. So it's not like I don't discriminate, let's be honest, right? And I think they were just more so on like, what are people going to see, right? Because you date outside your race, but people don't really see that, right? The entire world, 5 million viewers per night aren't going to watch you dating, whoever you date. So I think that's where they were coming from. But at the end of the day, it was like, do you really go into interracial relationships and not talk about race? Like, it makes no sense, I mean, because, let's say you're bringing that person home to your parents, you got to forewarn them, like,
it's
hey,
like the elephant in the room. You're going to talk about it.
Right. Exactly. And so I knew that I was going to make this as natural of a relationship for me as it would be in the real world. So how can I make this who I am and also incorporate, yes, I'm on a TV show as well, but this is still going to be me naturally being Marlena, and he's going to have to like me or not like me because I'm Marlena.
No. He's going to like you because you are Marlena. Period. Dot.
There you go.
Period. Dot.
Period. Dot.
And I got to imagine, Clayton obviously was super real last week with us in our conversation with him. And he talked about, the struggles of having the siblings in the family, and he was very competitive with him. I imagine you guys, just hearing your story, I imagine you guys connected on that level as well.
Yeah. Clay and we connected on a lot of different levels. And of course, athletics being one of them. And so he understood me, and I think in a lot of our conversations that we had, we talked about athletics and just kind of growing up and being the sibling that wanted to be better than the other siblings. So I think I brought that competitive edge to, for him. And also he brought that for me as well. And, we definitely had a lot of good conversations.
Love that. You definitely brought the competitive edge on this past week's date.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Were you the number one draft pick? Like,
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
Your team won the date. How did it feel to win the date? And, all the people that were the winners were supposed to be there, but, somebody else dropped in.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on. Calling up the Houston Texans right now. Not trying to draft me. Okay. But no, it was such a fun day. And I was so excited. I mean, as you could probably guess, I was the most excited out of everybody to be on that day. And I knew, I literally told him, I'm like, look, whoever's on my team, we're going to win. Like,
I specifically remember you saying it. Yes.
Not a question. I remember telling them, like, whoever's on my team, we're going to win. And, when we won, and Sierra was kicking butt too now, and my team did what they needed to do. Cause I remember in the locker room, I told them, I said, all y'all have to do is guard somebody for me. Just guard someone, cause they're going to be coming for me. And everyone did their part. Susie, Teddy, Sarah, they all did their parts with like guarding their man. I remember telling them, like, stay on your man. Don't worry about me. Pass me the ball. Just pass me the ball. Okay.
Give me the rock. This. I'll take it to the house.
And Sierra was killing it too. Sierra was killing it. So,
Sierra
we
was,
all
Teddy
as a
was.
team, as a team effort, like people were saying like, I put the team on my back, but my team showed out for me. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to escape the way I escaped. And went down and got all those touchdowns and whatnot, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have done it.
And I mean,
no,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and like, it was so funny because the trash talking, like in the ITMs, I was like, when you were talking about your coaches earlier, I was like, they definitely rubbed off on you, like, because that sounded like you were the coach of the team.
No, Bryan, I was thinking like when she spoke with Kobe, I think a little bit of that mama mentality was in.
For sure.
Definitely rubbed up on
but it's
me.
Like they cut from Marlena, hyping everybody up in her gear, and then like they showed the other team and they were just like throwing the ball to each other, like dropping everything. I was like, oh God, this is gonna be a massacre.
You have to get in people's heads, because if they don't feel like they can do it, because a lot of them, they were scared. They were like, tackle football. And I was like, listen, it's really not that bad. We had all the gear on, we have all the gear on, we're not going to feel, we're probably going to feel it tomorrow, but we're good. We're going to be okay. And I'm sitting here having to hype them up. And I just remember I had to hype me up too. So I remember sitting in a chair and I'm just literally rocking. And I'm like, all right, I don't have any music, so I'm sitting there like,
making it happen.
I'm like, okay, all right, okay. I'm listening to something in my head, and I'm just like, all right, okay.
What would that be in your head if you were listening to some hype music? What would you have
Little
in
John,
your?
Let's go, Little John.
Wow. As soon as you said that, yeah. As soon as you said it, I went it down.
Yeah, that was literally my song on all my track meets. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I.
Let's go.
Oh man,
right.
Why does songs just stay in your head forever? I know the whole song.
It does.
You mentioned that you're in Miami now, right? You left Gainesville. Sorry, Bryan. She had to go to
she's hit both of the towns that I've frequented, so I love it. Gainesville, Miami.
You're in Miami. We know that you have a realtor business, right? And you are the vice president of HR there. How in the world do you have time to do all these different things?
So I'm no longer the vice president. Remember, I had to quit that job. So that job was in Gainesville, and that's why I moved to Miami, because I no longer do that. But I own 2 properties in Gainesville. I ended up selling one of them. I have another one that I just Airbnb, and I currently live downtown Miami.
Passive income, baby.
Hold on.
She's doing it right. She's doing it right.
We got to talk. I got to sit up in my chair. What's good?
She's making moves.
Can you, like, real talk, can you please tell the people why you did that, why you decided to do that? and how it's
why I
helping
decided
you.
to move. Oh,
No,
to
no, with
sell
the
my house.
properties, with the properties that you had, and that aspect.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I always knew, and I'm a huge Airbnb host. So I Airbnb my property in Gainesville. And I knew how much money I made. So what I ended up doing, I was like, I'm a hustler, you know, and I think Clayton said that. And he told y'all I'm a hustler, okay?
Yeah, he did.
And so regardless of how much money I'm making, you always gotta make more. There's so many more opportunities to make more money in all different aspects. You can't have just one job, right? I couldn't just have one job making 6 figures. You know, like where else can I make more money? And so I remember I got my property and it was High Springs, Florida, and it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And I would Airbnb it on the weekends. Like I would leave and then I would get people. And I remember I opened up the entire month. And I remember I got a 7-day stay. And I'm like, well, where the hell am I going to go? like, where am I going to go? And I remember I ended up staying with my cousin who lived in Gainesville. And I made like $1,300 for 7 days. And I'm like,
like, hold up.
Right? I'm like, that's my mortgage. I'm like, I just paid my mortgage in 7 days, you know? And so I'm like, this is smart. Like, I'm going to keep doing this. And then so I ended up leasing that. I ended up buying an investment property and I bought it for 90 grand. I put 15 grand into it and I turned it into like a very, very, very nice place. And I'm like, I'm going to Airbnb this one, you know, because my mortgage for this one is only $630, you know? So what I can make in this one, I can pay for that one and this one at the same time.
Smart.
And I ended up doing that. And right now we're in an amazing market, right? So the house that I bought 2 years ago, I knew I could pocket $100,000 on it, you know? And so I'm like, just money moves, right? And it's just all about just being smart
making
mentally.
Money moves. I'm loving it.
Making money moves, you know, and that's what it's about. Like life is about, like never being stuck, never feeling stuck. And you know, when I had to quit my job for the show, it was like my biggest fear and why I didn't jump at the opportunity when it first presented itself. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I'm just so stuck in my structure of my little box and making this, making that. But then I'm like, man, you save so much money. Like, what? You don't have to have a job. Like, you don't have to. And so I just kept telling myself, like, you're okay. You're going to be okay. And, you know, with real estate, you know, and I'm an entrepreneur by real estate, and that's my job, right? It's, you know, real estate is being an entrepreneur and never knowing when you're going to make money and where your next paycheck's going to come, depending on like what your business is. Right. And so for me, I love to network. I love meeting people. So
you're amazing at it. You're amazing at it. I can tell.
It's not too hard. I'll put it that way.
So within that, you just said something right there. I think a lot of people, they have aspirations and dreams, and sometimes even opportunities like you to go on The Bachelor and find love. But we are so scared of the financial dependency that we have within our company, right? Yeah. And so I love that you're just preaching right there and telling people, like, you know, find more ways of income streams, right? That's literally what I nerd out on all the time. We can chop it up offline. That's all day what I nerd about. And so I just love that you're telling people that, because that's such a good message for people to know, right? So you've been able to move from Gainesville to Miami, have the opportunity to find a love. We want to see what the future holds. I'm watching closely. We all are. And making more money and have the freedom to yourself. So what other ventures are you working on? Because I know you're building an empire. So what we got? What we looking at?
My dream is to own an apartment complex. And, you know, so I've been talking to my parents, and my parents are also investors. So my parents, they're working on, I just put an offer in for them. And, you know, they're looking at buying their 3rd property. And so it's kind of like I would be the person that be taking care of that property. I'd be Airbnb-ing and managing that property that'd be in this area in South Florida. And so with them, I'm actually looking at purchasing a property somewhere out the country. I am a huge traveler. I've been in 33 different countries. And so it's like, I'm always about like leaving the country and finding new things to do that are outside of the status quo box that America is, right?
I'm living in Mexico, learning Spanish right now. You preach to the choir.
Hola.
So Marlena, I saw you lay the lumber on Shanae. Like the biggest hit of that football game.
And we love to see it.
You laid the wood and she felt it. I mean, can you just break down what's going on with this drama in the house? I mean, you got Elizabeth getting sent home. Clay didn't have all the information. Shanae goes basically into your group date, grabs your trophy, tosses it into the bushes, talks some trash to the other girls, and just basically bombs the group date. Like, how did you feel, and what is your take on everything that was going on in the house at that time?
Yeah, and Shanae did a very good job at gaslighting. And when I say that, and I can definitely come from a space where I understand Clayton's perspective. Although, sometimes I was like, okay, now I know you see this, but at the end of the day, she did a very good job at making things seem one way when they really weren't that way. And so for me, like I said, I was more so on the neutral side of things. And, when I would talk to her, it would always be positive. Like she never said anything negative to me. And, during the span of the entire drama, I was like, okay, well, this is just some petty drama. Like, this is some petty drama. Let's squash it and let's move forward. Like, let's just talk about it. But I didn't see the conversations that were had when I wasn't there. So the conversation with Shanae and Elizabeth that was with Clayton, I didn't see any of that. So I didn't know what happened. I only knew when they would come back and say, this person said this person said that. And it just kind of sounded like some petty stuff that was going on. And, now watching it back and seeing some of the ITMs, it's like, oh, so it was like that, and just kind of being on the outside looking in of things. And so the football date, I don't know how to play football. I'm not going to lie. I know how to catch a ball and I know how to run. That's all I know how to do. Yeah. And so the whole entire time we were tackling people when we didn't even have the ball. So we just thought we were supposed to. we didn't even know that you couldn't tackle people if they didn't have the ball. So we were just everybody was getting tackled.
There was all types of rules being broken in that game. Like let's just say that.
Clayton and Jesse we should have read the rules first. Like
literally, I remember John saying, "Look, they have to have the ball for you to tackle them." We were like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember I saw Shanae get the ball, and I just remember going like, she got the ball now. And I just remember tackling her, and it was like, sack. And I was like, okay, so that's what sack means. Okay, that's what that means.
Why did I just picture Bobby Boucher in my head? Like back to the Waterboy Adam Sandler. Like I just completely had that thought in my head just there. How did it feel? And then we'll wrap it up. How did it feel when you saw watching the show back when Shanae literally threw the trophy away? When she went there, had her little steamy scene with Clayton, and then like basically shitted on all the other ladies.
Yeah. It was disrespectful. It was disrespectful. It was uncalled for, and it shouldn't have happened. And I think when, I think that she should have understood her role as part of the losing side and just sucked it up and stayed home. And when I saw her grab the trophy, I got nervous because I looked at Sierra and I was like, we thought she was going to throw it at us. So we were like, hold on now.
She knows better than that.
We were like, we were taken aback. We were actually like really frightened that she was just going to throw it at us. And so when she threw it in the bush, we were like, where did this come from? And why did it get to this point? So we were all just really confused.
Wow.
Well, on that note,
the drama.
The drama continues, right? The most dramatic season ever. Marlena, you are a breath of fresh air, yeah. I mean, I say that with every ounce of the word. Your energy is bar none. Cannot wait to see your future. The things that we talked about today, I know, without a shadow of a doubt, they're all going to come to fruition, just based on your personality and who you are. So definitely thank you for having you. Can't wait to have you back on.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Marlena. You're great.
But before we go, though, we got to know, like, what's your gem that you're going to drop for the people? I knew she was going to do that.
So, I got a tattoo. This is my tattoo, right? So, it's my Olympic rings. And inside the Olympic ring says Luke 9:25. It's the Bible verse that I live by. It means, for what does it profit a man if he gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit his soul? For me, it basically means, regardless of where I go in life, I have to always be me, because what am I gaining if I try to be somebody else for the sake of what society wants me to be?
Love that. Love that.
Love that.
A mic drop. That's what we talk when we to the people listening. I'm about to hype Marlena up. That's what we talk about. When we say we want a gym, that's the gym that we want. That's how we do that.
Right.
Love that. I love that right there. Thank you so much for being here today. Cannot wait to see your future.
Appreciate you,
Thank
Marlena.
you.
Take care.
Thank you, y'all. Bye.
Bryan, I don't know if you caught it, but Marlena said one of the most powerful things, and that's going to always stick to me, and I guess this would be my gym today, that she said, which was, I'm not going to allow my mentality to beat me today. End quote. That is everything for me. I mean, it's she's speaking to me, especially right now in life, and I love that. I love her energy. I love her drive. I love how she's able to persevere. You know what I mean? It was amazing talking to her. How you feel about it?
I loved it too, man. I mean, she kind of reminded me of Rachel a little bit because she was that middle child, right? Mm-hmm. And they're always like looking to stand out with the family and whatnot. And I mean, her story's incredible, man. I mean, family full of athletes. She was the one that stood out the most, right? She made it to the Olympics. And I think she's been great on the season. Like, I think her and Clayton have had a connection, especially in that like competitive sports aspect. And I thought she was hella fun, man. Like, I enjoyed that interview a lot.
I can't wait to see her future. I mean, from what she's doing, she said, okay, I'm going to take a leap on faith, which is, all, as we all know, that's how, when you feel those goosebumps in your stomach and you take that leap and you do it in a proper way, great things happen, right? Even if you lose, but you gain such a perspective, right? And for her to be, crushing it with the cash flow, positivity, for her to be, having the body of her dreams, living where she wants to live, I still can't believe she compared Oregon to London, but we're gonna let that pass.
No, I mean, right? Yeah, that's a stretch. Let's just say that. But I mean, think about the courage that she had to show. Like, do I go on The Bachelor or do I leave this VP job?
VP position, correct?
Making hella good money.
Yes,
it's like that's a risk. You know what I'm saying? And like, she just said, you know what? I need to do this for me. And she's going to be herself on the show, which I loved as well. She's like, I'm not going to be anybody else. Yes, exactly. And she's been true to herself.
But look, her being true to her, my apologies, her being true to her taking that risk, look at that genuine smile that she has on her face.
Yeah.
When we were talking to her. So definitely, I think we can all learn a thing or two from Marlena. So kudos.
All right, Mike, my gem of the week is a quote that I saw that I absolutely loved. And sometimes people need to be willing to learn in order to grow, right? So this quote, it says, if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. So keep learning. We learn every day and keep growing.
Keep learning, keep growing. That kind of can go into the gym I had prior to talking to Marlena, which was a friend of mine that we always talk about, JKT, just keep talking. Like when an individual is going through something, any type of depression or anything that's on their mind, what I have learned is to just keep talking. Like, don't hold that in. Literally, I don't care if it's going into Walmart and just finding somebody and just talking down the aisles of Walmart. And I'm so serious. I might be playing when I say that shit. That would be my gem for today. Just keep talking. Just don't bottle everything inside. It's not conducive to our health. It's detrimental. That's my gem for today.
Amen. And one last thing, guys, before we let you go, in a sad turn of events, one of my wife, Rachel Lindsay's coworkers, this past Sunday passed away. Chesley Christ. She was a beautiful soul and touched so many people. And, Rachel's going through a tough time right now. And Mike, I know that you knew her well as well. So I just want to open up the floor to you and, let you finish up and give your final thoughts.
I can't believe I just heard that sentence. I've cried every single day. It's hard to do anything. Literally, she is. It's like her face is on my eye. In my eye, I see her constantly. I just want to say that Chesley, we love you. Chesley, you are the epitome of beauty, ambition, determination, light. I'll see you. I'll see you in the afterlife. I love you.
That's an amazing gem, Mike. And with that being said, to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And once again, guys, we are casting for The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So make sure to head to bachelornation.com/apply. Again, that's bachelornation.com/apply. And you might find the love of your life.
And like Marlena said, I mean, what's it going to hurt? Just apply for it. Check it out. You know, we always love to hear your opinions, your stories, your insights. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow. Message us on social at Talking Out B as in Bachelor Nation on IG. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Listen to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. And baby, don't make me tell you no more. Don't DM me until you hit that subscribe. We love y'all.